Hi there. Nothing today really regarding archery, and I expect it will remain that way. So for anyone who is subscribed specifically for archery content, it's not necessarily because that's the way I want it, but I don't think I'll be doing a whole lot with archery. So what does a guy do when he's not practicing archery? Lots of things, I suppose. I have a lot of health problems, and I'm in discomfort almost perpetually, and then often enough pain. So it's a lot of stuff I don't do. But one simple thing that I definitely do, and somewhat frequently, is I make things, art. Lately I've been making lots of kitchen utensils, mostly spoons. Spoons of mostly Cocobolo. And it makes a really nice spoon. It makes a nice almost anything. So after this I'll have a video segment where I'll show some of the stuff I've worked on. A lot of it's been given away when I first began making spoons and such. I made them to give them away. Now actually they're for sale. Most of what you'll see is for sale. I don't have prices or anything set yet. It's a lot of time, but then how much do you ask for a spoon? It's expensive wood, averaging $50 a board foot. It's a rare wood. It's a nice wood. So there's the cost of the wood, then there's the time, and then there's the style if it happens to be what someone prefers. So I don't know. If anyone has an opinion, I'd be happy to read it, I guess. This, you'll see again, that's my favorite. It's the ichthys symbol, if that wasn't self-apparent. And you have, I don't know if it's the sapwood or the heartwood, but with Cocobolo you get this kind of chocolate vanilla, really pale and then very dark. Sometimes it's a bright beige right against a dark black. And this piece, you can see tones of dark brown and almost red. It's a hell of a nice piece. It was a really, really nice piece of wood. And this is not for sale. This is the kind of stuff that is only given as a gift. I kind of have, it just seems weird to make a religious or spiritual item and then sell it to me. Not that I think it would be wrong, but for me it seems awkward. Anyway, if you're interested in spoon carving and all that stuff, stick around. You can see some of what I've done. I don't go through my process of making them. If that is something that interests people, let me know, and I guess I'll consider doing a video where I make a spoon from the original chunk of wood to the finished final product. Then I'm not limited to making spoons or spoons and forks, but it's a lot of these pieces they're difficult to do much else with, but often they're perfect for a spoon or a fork. I will be making a lot of chopsticks. That's another thing that I enjoy doing. So I guess I'll get to it. Sorry about the archery. I still am working, well, can't say I'm working. I'm waiting for a guy who is a machinist, and he says he's going to take one of my blocks of Kummeru and at least get the cuts and the angles right and machine the dovetails and the hardware attachment stuff that I cannot do by hand. It's been going on for several months. I don't know if he'll ever get around to it. It's not the easiest thing. He's not a professional machinist. He's just a guy with some gear who's taught himself. But he can do it. And if that is ever done, then I will definitely make a video of that, and I'll probably even start practicing archery again. I think that will be really cool to have an Kumaru ILF riser that I can use just about any set of ILF limbs. That was my original dream, although I wanted to do that in aluminum, which I still intend to if the opportunity ever arises. And I said I was going to move on. These here are rice paddles, or rice scoops if you prefer. These are all Cocobolo. These two are a strange teak, and I don't know what to do with these because I fear it might be PT, although I've done a bit of research and can't find any reference to pressure-treated or chemically treated teak. But it was a very strange wood to work with, and distinctly different from other teak I've worked with, so I don't know about these. But these are Cocobolo rice paddles. And there's another Cocobolo rice paddle. And we'll move on to the spatulas. Not doing so many of these right now, but this is Cocobolo, as well as the others. Almost everything from here on is Cocobolo. And these are very simple. These were the first spatulas, or really the first kitchen utensils I ever made, because I had these thin ribs of Cocobolo, and they weren't big enough to make the quivers that I was making at the time, so I thought, well, what can I do with this other than throw it away? And since I've had, I think, other ideas, if not better ideas, but you know, these are those very simple spatulas, very thin, but ergonomic. You know, they allow you to, this area here can kind of scoop the edge of the pot or pan, and then it has a bit of an angle, so you don't have to contort your arm too much. This is one of my favorites. Not really so much the design, but it's an exceptional piece of Cocobolo. It's very dense and heavy, and it just has a naturally glassy finish. It's a nice, thin, elegant spatula. I don't know if you can see, for reference, there's my hand. So this is probably getting somewhere in the 15-inch range. This I made today. This is certainly the largest spatula I've ever made. It's quite heavy, but not so heavy that it's uncomfortable to use. But it's sturdy, and it's not necessarily a spatula, but it's kind of a spoon too. If you see, it's deep enough to hold quite a bit, but the angle on it allows scooping and such. This is a spoon, as you'll see quite a few spoons coming up. This is one of my older ones, one of the earlier ones I did, and they're oddly shaped, often because that's the piece that I had to work with, and it was essentially good for nothing other than squeezing a spoon or a fork out of it, and that's what I did. And you can see the color variations between one piece and another on this Cocobolo. This has light browns, almost orange tones in it. This is one of my favorites. It's a big, heavy, stout spoon with a good deep bowl, but not as big as this. I think this is the monster. That's really deep there. I took a lot of time making that. This is one of my earliest spoon and fork set. And up until recently, most of these were made and given as gift to people I thought would appreciate them. This is mostly inventory, so this is for sale. This really has to be one of my favorites. It's made to be able to hang. Wow, nothing special, but it worked out really well with this one. It's just a really, really nice piece of Cocobolo. I don't know what the light and the camera is doing here. It doesn't look bad on the screen, but I definitely think it looks better in person. This is a pretty vibrant piece here. Definitely gets some orange tones, but it's light. So a lot of the really colorful Cocobolo tends to be a bit less dense. This is, well, kind of mediocre. This is another one of the very first spoons I did. You can probably see the difference between, say, this or even this, and just the profile, the shape, the contours. As I got more comfortable, I evolved a little bit. This is kind of straight, not much to it, but still a nice spoon. This here is one of the exceptions. This is Masaranduba. It's kind of a spatula spoon. This is just a tiny spoon that I was going to throw it away, but squeezed a decent spoon out of it. This is a prong, I presume a grill prong, or whatever you want to poke 2 holes in. And I could not make a fork or a spoon out of it. It had splits and cracks, so that's all I could squeeze out of it. But with this Cocobolo, you get something that will quite possibly last a lifetime. And it's dense, and it doesn't rot. Another one of my favorite spoons, not the biggest, but I think that's just a really nice one. This, another exception, is cherry. And I put this together pretty quickly, didn't put too much time into it. And then a couple more tiny ones. This is what I would consider a failure. I got the edges here on the hole too thin, but far from garbage. Another lightweight, elegant spoon, not too big, not too small. And my favorite, and I wish the sun was on it, right. This is what I call the Ichthys spoon. I'm going to drag it into the light so you can see. It's very colorful, and it hasn't been buffed or polished recently, so it's maybe a little bit faded. But I made this with the Ichthys symbol. The intention was to give to someone that I meet who's Christian and who might appreciate it. The smaller one is Catalox. That is one of my very, very favorite woods. It's just hard to imagine anything significantly better than a nice piece of Catalox. I really, really love this wood. It's very, very onerous to sand. It's not bad to work with, but I think overall for hardwoods, Cocobolo is one of the best to work with. It's got a natural oiliness to it, and I think that keeps it from chipping out. It's just, it machines well, it rasps well. You can do a lot with it if you have patience. But I think this is my very favorite of all the utensils that I've done. And I was for a while a fan of Sean Ryan, and if you watch his stuff, you'll see pretty incessant mentionings of Christianity and such. And I thought, oh, this guy seems to be doing good work. And I contacted him and said, I want to send this to you. He told me to eat a bowl of happy sticks, so I'll have to find someone else who will appreciate that. And then, of course, coming back to the roots. This is, I don't know if it's wheat or what, but that was given to me by a friend who's recently passed away, Jordan Fishman. But this is a quiver. I'm not doing much with it. I have stuffed in Jordan's wheat, or whatever you call it. But once again, the camera's turned upside down. Really nice piece of Cocobolo. It was one of those small pieces that I didn't know what to do with, so I sewed the leather directly into the wood and put a loop on it to stabilize, retain the arrows, and then a pocket clip. So you just clip that on your belt, and quiver. One of my favorites. A bit smaller than some of the other ones I made, but a nice quiver. And then I guess finally, I got the idea to make hairpins out of the really tiny pieces that I couldn't do anything else with. And I haven't been working on them much, but I got the idea to make this hairpin because I saw when I'd make the hairpins, it just reminded me of a kind of a woman's backside. So it's a pretty ugly face, but I'm not really aiming to have something that appears to be beautiful. It reminds me actually of the Packard emblem, the goddess of speed, or whatever that character is that they used for the hood ornaments on old Packards. Very similar face. So this hairpin is tested. It actually really works, at least for some ponytails. I don't have one, as you might have noticed. But I'll be making more of these, and I'm sure with some practice I'll refine them into something nice. I think I will probably add arms, and very simple, not too much detail, just so it doesn't look completely absurd. But I don't know, it was intended to be useful with a bit of humor. All right. I wanted to make a note because I'm fascinated by this plant. What you're looking at here is Gynuria procumbens, or Gynura procumbens. Kind of forget exactly how to pronounce that. And what you see right there is a clipping that I took and simply stuffed in the ground. And this area doesn't really get irrigated, and it's surviving. It survived through the winter here in South Florida. And I'll take you around here, and here's more of it. And all that you see here and growing down there, that is just from sticking them in the ground. And I really just think that is so cool that you have this really, really useful. Whether one wants to use it merely for ground cover or just to fill in something, the important thing is that it's edible and it's not at all unpalatable. It's now, one of these is the Okinawa longevity spinach. Well, I should have said that immediately. So I have two varieties, the regular and then the Okinawan, which has purple in it. You'll see purple in the leaves and in the stems. Over there, that's all wood dust from finishing a spatula today. But if wherever you are, it's not going to survive in Massachusetts, I don't think, or Montana. Might for a season, but in Florida and a lot of places, I think it would survive. And it's something I think everyone should plant if they can. If you're in an area where, and you can always keep it inside as well. So for an indoor plant, I think that would work really well too. But a lot of people don't even know about this stuff. And when you have something that's edible and nutritious, and I'm biased, I think all plants look great, but that's just a win-win-win-win-win-win situation. So I hope that people will get a hold of some of this and plant it everywhere. Just plant it everywhere. Neat stuff.